Hello, welcome to this podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the process of Macbeth. We all played the witches in TACT's production of Macbeth in 2016, which seems like quite a long time ago now. But first, let's introduce ourselves to you. My name is Ellie. I'm currently a primary school teaching assistant. I'm also auditioning for BA acting courses, and I studied at Arts Ed last year, and I did a foundation. So that's me. Phoebe.
Oh, well, hi, I'm Phoebe. I'm currently studying at a stage school in London called Millennium Performing Arts, and I'm enjoying every single second. I actually started my online classes today, so I've been very busy with those.
How's that gone for you, your online learning?
It was structured quite well, so all I had to do was write some stuff down, make it easy for me to understand, and then off I went.
Caris.
Hello, I'm Caris. I'm currently on a gap year and I'm auditioning for drama school to do a BA in acting. So all my auditions are currently online, which is fun and new. And I also work in a cafe bar, just, to get the dollar.
What does an online audition kind of consist of?
So I've just been sending off like videos of whatever they ask me to do, and then tomorrow I've actually got my first Zoom recall, which I couldn't tell you what consists of. I assume just having a little chat with the auditionee panel. The panel.
Well, congratulations!
Yeah. Thank you. I'm a bit nervous, but thanks, guys.
That's so exciting.
So, the first question in today's podcast is favourite TACT Shakespeare you have or haven't been a part of?
Okay.
Shall I start the ball?
Yeah, go for it.
Get the ball rolling.
Yes.
Right. So my favourite was As You Like It. Because for me, it was a little insight into the Actamuso world, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Love that. That was such a good play.
What part did you play in that, Phoebe?
Jacques. Now, I don't know whether that's the correct pronunciation, but it's the one we decided on.
Sorry, Shakespeare.
Caris, what about you? What was your favourite?
I loved As You Like It when we got to tour it in Ryder. Is that how you pronounce that?
Ryder,
there we go, because that was really fun. But I think my favourite play was actually Macbeth, because it's just an absolute classic. We also toured that in schools, and I just think Bobby is quite the creative genius, and the way he modernised it was super fun, and it's the best one that I've been in, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, I would agree with Caris. I mean, it's the only Shakespeare I've been in with TACT. So in terms of the process, it's the only one I can really speak on. But I really enjoyed it, and it was the first show I did with TACT.
What did you learn from that process, Ellie?
What did I learn? I learned lots from Macbeth. I learned about how to approach classical text, really. It's great, very creative. And the people were great to work with as well. Very collaborative, I thought, on Macbeth.
Wonderful. Okay. Right. Next on the list is your favourite rehearsal Macbeth moment.
Oh, I have
mine.
No, Caris, you go if you've got it.
I'm so sorry. My favourite rehearsal moment was the scene where we had to terrorise Joe as the witches. Did we tie him up?
We had like a piece of cloth.
Yeah, I think so. And we had to shove torches in his eyes and shove Tic Tacs down his throat and pull his hair.
Oh my god, yeah.
And it was just so fun. Like, I feel like that really empowered me.
Yes, it was good. I liked that.
It was quite awkward, and I feel like I felt really embarrassed, but it was really, we just had to go for it, and I just really enjoyed like creating the intensity in that scene and making it slick, because it was really hard to get right.
Yeah.
But I think it paid off in the end.
Yeah.
I think by the time we were doing the actual shows, and like obviously we were nervous about performing because you always get nerves, but like I just remember each show it got more and more intense, and like
Yes.
it was great fun. I really enjoyed that. I do remember it getting just gradually louder, or like more like real. Like we actually did want to punch.
It was so fast paced, and like everything was so like heightened, just the whole vibe of the play. And I feel like we really like milked that, you know.
Yeah.
Favorite rehearsal moment was they came and filmed some promo videos for Macbeth.
I was just thinking of the promo videos. Oh, yeah, no, I'll second that one.
Okay,
Carry on.
because I remember, well, for me anyway, Bobby was was always saying to us like, guys, you need to work on your character a bit more. Like the witches aren't quite right yet, or you're like, there's more you can do. So I feel like every rehearsal we like went in and were like just doing something random and different each time, but they came in and filmed these promo videos, and we definitely weren't ready to like be filmed as the witches. And every time that comes up on my Facebook, like memories, like years ago today, I watch it and I'm like, oh my god,
It's so
like
cringy.
it's so embarrassing and like so different to what we were like in the actual play. And you can just tell, like looking in our eyes in the video, that they like are really scared and they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, because we definitely had like a certain vibe for the witches, didn't we? And I feel like because we had to adapt it to like a modern time, it was really fun to sort of experiment with the character. What did we go for in the end? Quite I don't know, I just felt like we were really intense.
I thought, yeah, it felt like we were very like impassioned.
Yeah.
In like angry. Women, you know? Yeah, like we had a lot to say.
Like a little girl band vibe, wasn't it?
Oh my, yes.
Oh yeah, I love it.
We had like the matching costumes and like the fishnets on our arms. We were like, yeah.
And the dark lipstick and the hair, like
the back combing of hair. Oh my god, yeah.
So painful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look. Right, I think we've covered the next question. It was favourite show moment, unless you've got a specific moment that happened in a show. Oh, actually, I do have one, but this also covers like rehearsal process. I think it was the last minute change to start hissing in the audience's faces after the first scene. Bobby was like, why don't you just try hissing?
Oh my god.
And then the scene ended, strobe lighting happened, and we were like, just like all the audience.
Oh, the strobe lighting, and we had to move the ladders. That was fun.
Yes, and I'd forgotten about that, but my absolute favourite part of the whole play, like obviously loved our scenes that we were in, but I liked that we just like were, even on like transitions, like one of us would like move the ladder or do something, or like in people's faces, and I liked how like every now and then we just pop up and they weren't expecting us. I just thought it was quite scary.
We were like our own like Shakespeare entity. What was your favourite scene for us to do together?
Maybe the double toil and trouble one, because we had to do that little harmony, which was fun.
Yeah,
the harmony.
Remember, we like harmonised, and it took ages to get the pace right, and that was really fun. To like work together, we really had to be, you know, cohesive.
Yeah, it was very much like someone was doing like you were either saying the words, you were doing harmony, or you were doing each when we had to swap between them. And it was, yeah, that's a good point actually. We kind of had to work together really closely on that, otherwise it would have sounded really bad, and it definitely did in rehearsal many times.
Oh yeah, I take the blame for that one. We swapped the cauldron for a laptop, and when it was our turn to do our little speech, we were like plotting on the laptop, which was really fun.
Yeah, maybe we should really quickly, for anyone who didn't get to watch the wondrous production of Macbeth that it was, maybe we should talk about what the adaptation was like, what it was. Phoebe, give a little.
So I'd say it's very modernised and quite retro.
From the Witches, it was very dark and quite sinister, and it was quite powerful because the things that we were plotting could have been interpreted as like in a modern sense. So all the technology, as if not terrorism, but it has themes of things that could actually happen.
Yeah, I
in
think
real life.
that obviously technology is, well, at the moment, for example, like people are only connected because technology exists. Like if we didn't have technology, then our lives would be so different. I think the way Bobby chose to use technology in play, it was almost like the idea of hacking or manipulating reality with it. And like if you look at the Witches, probably when it was written, the way Shakespeare intended it, were like sort of I don't know what the word is, like very non-human
bad
beings.
omens, and they could predict
what
happened to Macbeth, and they had to say
this power, but like sort of people didn't really, only one person could see them in the play or whatever. But that's almost symbolizing that you can be behind a computer screen and have like massive power, but like you don't really have any I don't know, you're sort of, it's almost like a secret, like this secret.
Yeah, it's quite ambiguous. And I think what was good was that was kept ambiguous in the play. Like, although technology was a thing, it was left to the audience to interpret what that actually meant. So we didn't actually tell them what we were doing on the computers. And I guess we didn't even have to know. It was just kept ambiguous, which created the tension, I think.
I also guess having technology in it makes it more like relatable for an audience as well, because it was probably the one thing within the play that they understood fully to an extent, I guess.
And it gave reason for things, like why would we, like if we'd done it as in a different way, and if we had a cauldron, we were making this like spell with like animal bones in, they'd be like, why are they doing that? But yes, we were saying the same words, but doing it on a computer, like you say, Phoebe, that people can relate to that, and it makes it make more sense.
Great. So here's where it gets a bit fun. If Shakespeare was a flavour of crisp, what would he be and why?
You see, I think he would just be salted. I'm backing my opinion, because it's a classic. Some people think it's boring, some people think it's overrated, but it's just the original. Sometimes the simplicity is key, and I feel like he just keeps it to the base, not the basics, but everything that you think of as classical, you think of Shakespeare. A solid, ready salted crisp.
Ready salted, yes.
I also second the ready salted club for a similar but also different reason. I've said because deep down it's I'm not reading from the page. I also agree that he's really salted, because I think deep down it's a flavour that everybody likes, really. Some people claim they don't, but who doesn't love ready salted? That's all I can say.
And do you know what? I hadn't really thought of my answer, but I think I agree with you, because sometimes you can get a bit bored of a ready salted crisp. And like, in school, you're doing your GCSEs, you're doing Shakespeare, and everyone's like, I'm so bored. And then someone brings out like a ready salted kettle chip, and you're like, whoa, yes, I love this. And like, that's how I feel like Shakespeare is. Like, sometimes you've got like supermarket own brand ready salted crisp, which is like bland and boring, and then they whip out a luxury crisp and you just see it in a different way.
And also you can add different flavours to the ready salted crisp, but you can't get rid of flavours for the other crisps, you know what I mean? So you can add layers and make it interesting, but the foundations remain the same.
It's true. Here's a fun one. Do you think we can remember any lines? Would you like to
give it a go?
The opening scene?
I think the opening scene is probably the most promising. I think it will just go downhill from there, but we.
Do I remember who says what? Maybe not.
No, this is my issue. I can see the whole scene on my own. I cannot remember for the life of me which lines were actually mine.
Yeah.
What's the first line? Just hit me with the first line.
When shall we three meet again?
When shall we three meet again? Okay, I'm ready.
In character, everyone. In character.
Okay.
Exactly how we did it.
We need you to know, as the viewers, that what we've done now is put on capes and witch hats.
Yeah. Yeah, pointy hats. And the wand
You can
as well.
You can just decide what we look like now. Let your imaginations run wild.
Okay.
When shall we three meet again? Good start.
I know the line that comes next, but I definitely
Is
don't
it
say
me
that.
still?
Yeah,
I think
still.
Yeah.
Guys, I am so sorry.
That's okay, Paris.
Okay, we'll do it again, and I'll keep on talking until you stop me.
Okay.
When shall we three meet again? In thunder, lightning, or in rain?
When the hurly-burly's done. When the battle's lost and won.
That will be ere the set of sun.
Where the place?
Upon the heath.
There to meet with Macbeth.
Macbeth.
I come.
I forgot. I come, Macbeth.
No.
I come. Greymouth.
Greymouth.
I studied this for GCSE. I should know. I was also in the play. I come, Grey Malkin.
Paddock calls.
Anon.
Fair
is
foul. Foul is fair.
Hovering
filthy air.
Yeah.
Well,
the power of technology.
The power of technology could be better, and it could allow us to speak at the same time.
Hopefully this is a request that Jack Pierce cuts out the section where Karis is like, I studied this for GCSE.
I think that was quite a valuable
so it's through the lines.
Well, that was good. I'm really glad that Shakespeare's stuck with me.
Yeah.
Okay, so next on the list is what would you say you missed the most about Macbeth? Whether it be the process, the experience?
I think just the cast. Like, I miss working with all the creatives and making a little family, and you get the chance to be really vulnerable when acting and having a cohort of people so supportive and like-minded. It's just the best feeling, you know?
Yeah. I think I'd agree with that, because do you remember when it was the day that we were opening the show and Bobby gave us all a card with
when he wrote a little note.
Yeah, and it was like a message to each of us, and I just remember thinking like obviously that's really special, and I still have that card.
I actually have a picture. I'm staring at it right now of us three
on
my wall.
Yeah, it's that like I think we were all like really proud of what we did, because I kind of didn't think we were expecting that we would make something good. So we were really proud of it. So that moment before, when we were stood in the other studio, and they like gave us all a card, I was feeling like quite overwhelmed that we'd done it, and I was really excited to show it to people, which I think, the audiences I think did enjoy it. Even people who don't really like Shakespeare, I think, got something out of it.
I think that it's been mentioned already, but I think touring was great, because it's like Ellie said, you value the time that you're given to do the show so much that when it's over, like it at that current moment feels like the end of the world, because you just don't want to stop doing it. There's like, you'd give the world to be able to carry on doing it. So then when it was like released that we'd be doing it in schools, it was like amazing, because it almost feels like not the first professional job, but like kind of
it gave an insight of what we could be doing forever.
Yeah.
And also, because we were doing it in a different space, like if you came to watch Macbeth, we did it in the studio at TACT, in a traverse setting, so the audience were on both sides, and then we went to HLC and we did it in Thrust. Yeah, it was Thrust. So that in itself is completely different, and it was so much bigger. Like the fact that we were trusted to adapt the play to a different space was cool.
Yeah.
And also, I think it was really special because obviously a bit of time passed from the original showing to the tour. It was just really nice to come back and all of it to not have been lost. Like, we were able to pick it up so quickly because it meant a lot to all of us and we worked so hard on it. And it was nice to just know that it's still, you know, fresh and we still had another chance to put our own take on it.
Yes, I agree with that.
How lovely. Is there any advice you'd give to people wanting to be a part of Shakespeare plays or TACT in general?
Yeah, advice to people who want to get involved in Shakespeare plays, definitely do it, because I think there's a lot of like presumptions or prejudgments about Shakespeare, because the way that you're sort of taught it at school is very different to the way that you would perform it. It's very different, but I would say if you're in a Shakespeare play, the first thing I would do is like translate it into words that you would actually say. And don't worry, like, you know, there are loads of websites and books that already have translations in that are super, super useful, but actually translate it into how you would have a conversation, because like nobody, I've never heard anybody say to be or not to be, that is the question. Like, nobody phrases sentences like that. So you can phrase it in a way that captures the same thought as the original writing, but in your own words. You'll understand it more, and then that will therefore help your performance because you'll understand it better.
I think there's like a presumption that Shakespeare's really over the top, and like the stereotypical way of acting it is really like intense, but I think you've just got to find a connection with it, because some of the best acting is Shakespeare and it's so naturalistic. And if you can find a connection and find the emotion within the lines, which is what Ellie said, with realizing what the lines actually mean and translating it into your own words, I think it just transforms it from being Shakespeare into being something like a really beautiful piece of acting. Like, naturalism is the key, if that's the way you want to perform it.
Yeah, as well. If you can find a connection with it, then it makes your job 100 times easier than if you're trying to translate Shakespeare language off a page to an audience. And I'd also say, if you're thinking of like stage school, or that's something you want to achieve in your life, then having Shakespeare and basic or in-depth knowledge of Shakespeare is really useful to have under your belt, because it's so helpful. And you wouldn't think it, but it helps in like modern day plays.
Like, building off of that, obviously Shakespeare, the language is so sort of like poetic, so it feel like Harris was saying, it feels quite over the top, but the skills you need to understand Shakespeare, like the understanding of rhythm and punctuation and like verse versus prose, that kind of thing. If you approach that in a classical text like Shakespeare, then when you come to do a modern play or a musical even that has script in it, you'll have like such a good foundation of knowledge on the importance of rhythm or the importance of punctuation in speech, that when you come to those plays you'll have those skills so you can use them, which I think is what you were saying, Phoebe. Just it's a great place to start.
As Bobby said, plays are important.
Plays are important.
That's the quote. That's it, sis.
Plays are important. They so are. Yeah.
And in terms of advice for people joining TACT in general, I think you've just got to do it, because some of the best memories of my life are from TACT. Like, put yourself out of your comfort zone, because all the staff, the directors, the cast, they're so supportive and welcoming, and you can just grow. Like, even if you don't want to be a performer full time, it's just given me so much like discipline, life skills, confidence, and I can look back at all of the musicals and plays I've done at TACT and think, wow, like I was really happy then and I really had a great time. And I'm really lucky to be a part of that, because some of the musicals and stuff are amazing, and just reminiscing like, wow, I really was a part of that is a really nice thing, you know?
Yeah. It's like a beautiful reminder when the montages come out, and it's like you see yourself like with your friends, some of your like bestest friends on stage performing, and like just remember how you were reliving that moment. Not how you were reliving that moment. Remember how you were like living in the moment. It's just like, it's a special feeling. And it's like Cara said, TAC's such like a safe place to be, and like it's okay to make mistakes, and you'll always feel welcomed no matter what you've gone there to achieve or what you've gone there for. It's great, and the faculty there are so strong, and like they're getting stronger by the day.
Yeah, like not that this is a regret in my life, but like something I wish I'd done is like get involved more than I was, because I was involved, and I did dance lessons and shows and singing lessons as well, but there are things that like I went to go watch a lot of shows, and I remember watching being like, I wish I was in that, I wish I'd done it. So when Cara says like throw yourself into it, just do it, like definitely just do it if you can, if you've got the time, you're free, and you're able to, then definitely just give it a go, because it is just, yeah, you don't want to miss out on anything. You don't have FOMO when you're watching a show.
I've had so much FOMO.
FOMO,
TACT FOMO. Do you know what?
From the FOMO and join TACT.
TACT FOMO is definitely a thing.
No, it is. It
like,
really is.
It so is. When you see people doing shows and like you're studying away, and you're like, I wish I was there and could do that as well.
What about we could start a new thing called FOMO, fear of missing out at TACT.
Oh, catchy.
Yeah. Any last words? Any other questions you want to add? Maybe we could discuss working with different ages.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because the youngest in Macbeth was Ismay, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
but even people like that was the first time I met Brooke. Shout out to Brooke Jenkins if you're listening. But that was the first time I met Brooke, and was it like 12?
16. Yeah, probably.
Which is crazy. And I mean, Shakespeare's quite difficult, so for someone like Ismay as well, like all the younger people who like managed to do that play and like do it really well, is actually like really impressive. Like,
yeah.
Back now, I'm thinking about me at 12, basically trying to do a play, and just like knowing that it wouldn't have been very good. So,
but it also shows like in the right environment you can thrive. Like TACT know what they're doing, and the directors are incredible. And even if you have no knowledge of Shakespeare, if you take the first step and join, you're in the right place, you know?
Yeah, because looking back, it didn't feel like anyone was treated differently, regardless of how experienced they were.
I think that's what I love about the plays, because it's genuinely a smaller cast than the musicals. You are really like one cohesive group, and you really get to work closely with each other, and no one feels less or more important.
Yeah. And even from like, because pretty sure maybe Karis might have been 15 when we did it.
Maybe, yeah.
Because I was 16. Anyway, 16, even being like 16 and having people like Ben Pearce and Will Young in the cast was like...
And Emily Rogers.
Yeah, even though I considered them like close friends by this point, it was still quite inspiring, because it was nearing stage school audition time, or like they were already auditioning. So it's great to have like that experience in the cast, because you look up to them. So like same as what Ellie was saying about, if I was 12 and in a Shakespeare play, I 100% would have been looking up to the cast and like using them and learning off them, as well as like knowledge that I had from TACT or like myself.
Yeah, and I just remember them working like so hard, like Joe and Emily, you know, Macbeth and Lady Macbeth, like mammoth parts, and
Yeah.
I would argue that they're pretty impossible parts because people know the characters so well and so many people have played them. It's an impossible part. Well, it sometimes feels impossible to make it original or exciting or, you know, something that people want to watch. But I just remember them spending like just so long learning their lines, understanding them, working together. And I thought it would, I mean, it definitely paid off because they were definitely believable. And they did a great job. But that goes for like everyone. Everyone worked so hard.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know how they did it. Like, it was really impressive.
It was. So I think that is all of our questions that we've got for today. So I hope that gave you an insight into plays at TACT, specifically Shakespeare plays, and maybe inspired you to get involved when all of this is over.
Yeah. I recommend it. TACT's a great place to be. Karis?
I third that statement. Third, second. I agree with that statement. Join TACT.
Join TACT, definitely do that. So yeah, thank you for listening. It's been great fun for us to do this.
Great old time, actually.
It's been nice because, I mean, we've obviously seen each other since we've done Macbeth. We haven't this is the first time we've spoken, but we haven't really properly spoken about Macbeth since we did it. So,
or even spoke as a trio that much.
Yeah,
it's true.
The Witches are reunited. It's a powerful time to be alive.
Yeah, it's a powerful time to be a witch. Okay, well, I guess we'll say goodbye. Parting is such sweet sorrow. There you go. You like that one? Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you for listening.
Bye.